What's going on, hikers? In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a number of beginner backpacking mistakes that I've made in the past, and the intention of this video is to help you increase your quality of life while you're out on trail, because that's what this whole channel is about. So the first mistake, it deals with blowdowns, and you have to be careful whenever you're crossing these. If you haven't heard of them, it's basically some trees that have fallen across the trail due to weather or wind or whatever, and it is blocking your path. Now, I was on the Foothills Trail, and I was actually using this backpack, the Osprey Atmos 65 liter. I had my camp shoes strapped to the outside, and I had to crawl under this giant tree, and there was literally no way to get around it. I had like a cliff on the other side, and I had my camp shoes strapped to the outside, and I stuck the strap to the strap of my Croc. And as you can see, that strap no longer exists. What actually happened is I lost one of my Crocs. Like, the other one was just dangling off the back of my backpack, but this Croc was dropped in the middle of a bridge in the middle of the woods. I had hiked, I don't know, half a mile or a mile up a hill and had not realized that I'd lost my shoe. So I'm gonna suggest that whenever you cross through blowdowns and everything's grabbing at you, maybe take a little break right afterward and check and make sure everything in your backpack is still where it should be. My second mistake was using 550 paracord in order to hang my bear bag during a polar vortex. So it's two problems. It had nothing to do with the weight that this thing would hold up, because it holds 550 pounds. The texture of this rope sawed into the tree as I guess I was pulling my food up or like kind of hanging it that night. And then it froze overnight, and it was almost impossible to get my food down whenever I was ready to get it down in the morning. So I would suggest using something that is coated, like this Zingit. You can buy this all kinds of different places online. All the gear that I talk about today, I'll link in the description, but this Zingit, it's got a coating on it, and it helps keep it from having that same friction issue that you would with the Paracord. So this 50 feet is all you need to hang a bear bag, and you'll be good to go. The third mistake I wanted to share with you, it happened on that same trip, the polar vortex. It came in, it got down to like 10 degrees that night, but during the daytime it was about 40, and I hiked in the rain and freezing rain all day, got soaking wet. And then whenever I got to camp and set up my tent and stuff, I took off my pants to change in my dry camp clothes, and then I just threw them in the bottom of my tent. Didn't think anything of it. Woke up the next morning, and the digits in the teens for the temps, I held my pants up, and I'm not joking, these did not move at all. They were just still in a wad. Me holding them up, totally frozen there inside my tent. So I've heard a lot of different opinions on this, and I would like for you all to comment down below and let me know how you would have handled the situation, because my blood's not too thick. I'm a southern boy, and I really don't get out in those temps that much. Some people say wear them until they dry. Some people say you should have built a fire and dried those clothes out. Some people say put them in a trash bag and put them in your sleeping bag and sleep with them so they don't freeze. Some people are like, put them in your sleeping bag and let them dry while you're sleeping, but they were soaking wet. So I'm curious your all's opinion on how you would have handled that situation if you have any experience with that. But I wish I would have had these with me. These are just little down booties that I got from today's video sponsor, which I'll tell you more about here in just a minute. But these things are freaking awesome, and they would keep my feet nice and toasty, because that night it was freezing. I mean, that was not the only mistake I made there. I could talk about it all day. Maybe I should make a whole video about it, but I took an emergency blanket with me, and that got a bunch of condensation. Everything was soaking wet when I got up. So I don't know, just a lot happened. My fourth mistake, you'd think I'd learned my lesson, but it's bad weather situation again. So 2 different times I went hiking and camping in high wind situations, and normally I try to avoid those, but it was the end of December. I had friends coming down. We were taking a trip, and it's gonna be 70-75 degrees in Kentucky in the wintertime. So we went out, we still hiked all day. We come back, 40-50 mile per hour winds. Miyagi on the trail, awesome YouTube channel he has. His tarp broke on his hammock. He had to end up coming and sleeping in the camper with us because everything was drenched, soaking wet. I also went out Thanksgiving weekend, just like last month at the time of shooting this video, and 40 mile per hour wind. You can check out the video, I'll link it above if you want to see it, but absolutely crazy sleeping in that. you know, we had a guy on the backpacking podcast named Rue McKenrick, and a branch fell and hit him while he was sleeping in his hammock in a high wind situation like that. And I mean, it knocked him unconscious for 16 hours. He woke up wrapped in his hammock. He had to cut his way out of it. So probably if it's going to be windy, maybe just, I don't know, maybe just not go. My fifth mistake was using a frameless backpack under the wrong circumstances. Because as you can see here, there's really no structure to this backpack. You kind of pack your gear in it in a way that gives it structure. And at only 14 ounces, this thing is ultra light in my opinion, and that's awesome, but I was trying to take it on a trip where I was carrying 20-25 pounds, and it just will not support that kind of weight and be comfortable. So you think, well, you could use the Osprey, and this Osprey, it's at a good price point. It's awesome quality. It's got the internal frame, so it's very comfortable. It's going to support all the weight that I need, but what I'm sacrificing is the weight, because you can either have good price, good weight, or good quality, but you can't have all three in my opinion. So I was looking for something that was an in-between, because I didn't want to carry the 4 or 5 pounds on some of my trips. Still take that pack all the time. And I decided to go with the Hyperlite Southwest 3400, I believe it's called. This thing is super spacious. I took it on my trip over Thanksgiving, and it did an awesome job. I had like 40 pounds in it at once because we had to dry camp, so camping without any water, and water's super heavy. But with the internal frame, it done an awesome job supporting the weight. Now, it is a little bit pricey, but if you're interested in buying like that backpack or something else, I can help you save some money. You should check out today's video sponsor, which is backcountrycom. They're a leading outdoor retailer. Whatever outdoor activity you're looking to get into, whether it's hiking or camping or skiing or whatever, anything you can think of, you can find it on their site. But to save some money, use my code JeremiahBC15 to get 15% off of your first order. Some exclusions do apply. Now, while you're shopping around on there, you're probably looking at some different pieces of gear. You might have some questions. You can talk to one of the gearheads. These are people that they're leading experts in the field of whatever you're chatting about, or if you want to give them a call, you can also call them on there. They're available 24/7 to answer your questions. Maybe you're stuck between a couple pieces of gear and you're trying to decide which is a better fit for your needs. Well, you can chat with them on there and they can help answer those questions or give you information, whatever they can help you with. Hop on there and check out backcountry.com. Huge thank you to them. They continue to support the channel and help make these videos possible, so get on there and check them out. My sixth mistake was taking a brand new piece of gear that I'd never used before, my Western Mountaineering Astrolite 26 degree down top quilt. Took it out in freezing temperatures and had no idea what I was doing. I mean, I'd watch some YouTube videos and stuff because I know sleeping quilts, the top quilts, they're a little bit different than sleeping bags because the back's cut out and you have to strap them to your sleeping pad if you're going to be using a tent, and that helps prevent drafts, and it's got a draft collar and it's got different cinches on it and it snaps here. You know, I just was like, I'm just going to take it. I'll figure it out. Man, I got cold, especially that first night. You know, we were out there for 2 or 3 days, and with 2 nights on trail, you figure out some mistakes the first night, and you fix those going into the next night because you don't want to get those drafts coming in on top of you in the middle of the night and freezing you out. So, if you're going to try out a top quilt, maybe learn from my mistake and just sleep in your living room and set it up in there, sleep on your pad, and figure out how everything works with it before taking it out in freezing temps. My seventh mistake was using my tent stakes improperly. A lot of tents, they will come with like a shepherd style hook or an A-shaped stake, but I decided to replace mine, shed a tiny bit of weight, and I thought, man, this would be a much better anchor, an MSR mini groundhog tent stake. A lot of people will do them straight down, or what I was doing was leaning the stake toward my tent whenever I staked it down, and that is a big issue because this could be ripped right out of the ground. What you want to do is lean your stakes away from the tent, and that'll provide a much better anchor point and keep your tent on the ground nice and calm whenever that wind comes along. I want you to comment below and let me know some of the mistakes that you have made whenever you've been in the great outdoors. Also, if you enjoyed the video, give me one of these, subscribe to the channel, and kick that notification bell for the latest notifications. We'll see you in the next one.